On Monday, 80 degrees ahead of that front, but falling temperatures and scattered showers and storms in the afternoon. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist David Keller on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
It is balmy this morning as we get started, and we are at 68 right now. Omaha, Council Bluffs, and Lincoln. 7:02 on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Schrock Innovations presents the Midwest #1 independent computer repair company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, Des Moines, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company, with 4 locations to help you out with your technology needs. The original location in Lincoln, just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. In Omaha, 168th and Burke, across the street from the Village Point Mall. In Papillion, the third one was 84th and Highway 370 in the Midlands Place Shopping Center. And the newest location, 9500 University Avenue in West Des Moines, Iowa. Want to just a quick program note, remind everybody, no matter when you're tuning in or the station that you're tuning in to Compute This on, Compute This is recorded live because, you know, it's hard to record things. I guess you could record a recorded program, then it would be a recorded program. But we are about the quality here. So we're going to record a live program at 7 a.m. So if you want to call into the program and be a part of the show, we give away a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate every week. Just one lucky caller who calls into the program. The number to join us on the show, 888-250-2091. That's 888-250-2091. Also, I want to make sure that everybody knows that we are broadcasting live on Facebook at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations, SCHROCK Innovations. You can watch the show there live, comment during the commercial breaks. I do try to pop in there and say hi and make sure that everybody knows that, we're paying attention. So check us out there, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. Also, after the conclusion of the broadcast, the terrestrial broadcast show, we're going to do another show called The Aftershock. And you guys, I don't know. I've got some spit and vinegar in me today. I don't know what's going to happen on The Aftershock. I got some plans, and I'm just talking this morning and I'm reminding myself of all the news stories that happened this week that are just ridiculous, that, it's nuts. But I got a bridge in Texas, I'll sell you. You've got stories everywhere about all kinds of stuff, but none of it was tech related, because there is only one technology story happening this week, and we're going to tell you what that is coming up soon. Now, if you missed the show last week, you can always pick it up on our website at SchrockInnovations.com. In fact, I know some of you, you don't do the Facebooky thing. You don't do the social media thing. Totally get it. You can also watch the video of the shows at SchrockInnovations.com. Just click on the radio show link up there, and then the videos and the audio, all of it's there. There's a podcast on iTunes. You can get it any way you want to get it. But if you missed the show, last week we told you how the maintenance checkup was going in the service centers. It was the final preventative maintenance checkup of 2021. It's still going on through the 26th of September, so you do have a little bit of time to catch in on that if that's something that you've missed out on, or maybe you weren't aware. About another, if you're hearing the show live, you got a week. If you're hearing the show not live, you got a day. Lincoln, you got a day. So anyway, it's really important to get in on that if it's something that you'd missed out on. You can always purchase a certificate on our website at SchrockInnovations.com if you can't make it into the service center in the next week. Totally understand that as well. Also, last week we told you about Microsoft putting the finishing touches and putting in the overtime hours on Windows 11 to get it ready for the October 5th launch. October 5th is coming up fast, guys. Windows 11 is coming up fast, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about that today. I'm going to give you some flashbacks. You may have been with us on the program when Windows 10 was released. We learned a lot about how Microsoft pushes modern operating systems with the Windows 10 release. We learned what to believe and what not to believe. So it's possible for things to be technically true and to be, like, in experiential terms, false. And so we're going to tell you what's going to probably happen with the Windows 11 push and how your computer is going to probably automatically get upgraded if it is compatible. Also, we shared a judge's landmark decision last week against Apple, a U.S. judge this time, not a South Korean judge, against Apple, saying that their payment processing requirements and anti-steering laws in their App Store are anti-competitive, which means Apple stock took a $3 or $4 hit the day after that judgment came out because Apple earns a ton of cash. 30% of every dollar spent in the iTunes store goes to Apple as a processing fee. Well, if Apple can't charge those processing fees, that's a big chunk of change they're going to miss out on, and that's going to hit the bottom line. So we told you a little bit about that. If you missed any of those stories, you can always check those out on the website, schrockinnovations.com. Click on radio show, listen to it there. But that was last week. This week is this week. So we're going to do the maintenance sale. I actually have been working the benches a lot in the Papillion and the Omaha service centers. Odds are if you purchased a computer from Schrock this week, I built it. That's right. You can look at the paperwork when you get it in the box. If it has TS and a circle around it for the initials of, who approved it, that means I built it. I approved my own work. It's pretty awesome. So if there's a mistake, it's my fault. But basically, if there's a computer, I pretty much built it because we've been selling computers so fast for the preparation of Windows 11 that the staff can't keep up because we're running a maintenance checkup special at the same time. So my morning looks pretty much like this. Drop my daughter off at school, go to the Papillion Service Center, build like 10 computers in 3 hours, which I'm apparently the only one in the company that can do, which is crazy because, I'm an old man. How am I doing that? And then I get in my truck and I drive to the Omaha Service Center where I jump in there and cover the bench until 3 o'clock when I go pick up my daughter from school. So, and in that period of 3 o'clock, I drop 5 or 6 computers off the bench for customers to get their babies back to them. Because, like everybody else in the world right now, we're a little bit short-staffed. And so, we pitch in. People are kind of surprised when I answer the phone. They're like, you answer your own phone? And I'm like, yeah, like I tell people, I've got 2 hands. And a lot of people were confused, but I've got 2 hands and 1 good ear. Well, I'm half deaf in my left ear. So like this ear, I've got like constant ringing and stuff. So that's why whenever I'm listening to something in the room, you'll see me take this headphone off because, I can't. So I don't know. I'm up until this latest civilian launch of SpaceX. I thought, I'm never going to get into space in my life because, I can't hear out of both ears. And I guess it's kind of a requirement for some stupid reason. Can't you just pipe all the comms into one ear? I don't understand. They don't want to re-engineer the helmets just for Thor. Ridiculous. Let me do it myself. I can build 12 computers in a day. So it's been busy, but it's been fun for me because I get to get back into the element of the thing that kind of got the whole company started. And that's delivering award-winning service to our customers every day, finding solutions to problems, to everyday problems that have been plaguing you on your computers for a while. We had computers that came in that were not going to be Windows 11 compatible, but they were modular, so now they are. That's awesome. We had computers that came in that were not going to be Windows 11 compatible. We had customers who decided that Windows 10 was going to be just fine until 2025. And I said, well, if you're going to keep using this dinosaur turd for the next 3 years, I didn't call it that, of course, because, that would be rude. It's somebody's baby. You don't call it that. Perhaps we would consider investing in a couple, modifications to get the speed back up again. Well, how much speed do you think I'd really get back if I put that solid state hard drive in, Thor? Oh, it'll be faster than the day you bought it. Oh, wow, let's do it. And of course, when they come to pick it up, I always like to go out front and open up the laptop and say, push the power button. And they look at me like, okay, I guess we're checking your work. And they push the power button and they start talking to me. And then they look down and it's booted. And they're like, what just happened? Was it asleep or was it off? I'm like, oh, no, it was off. I turn them off because I like to do this because they're so much faster when you upgrade them to a solid state hard drive. It's ridiculous. Removed a lot of viruses and malware this week. Installed a lot of Sophos subscriptions and Secure Updater subscriptions this week. Lots of Drive Advisor alerts on hard drives failing this week. All in all, it was a very, very, very busy week in all of the service centers, and not just because of the maintenance sale. We're getting a lot of people coming in, as we mentioned earlier. A lot of people bought computers at the beginning of the pandemic to do work from home that were consumer grade computers. They're not intended to take on that level of work. When we say most people keep a computer for 18 months to maybe 2 years, that's a consumer grade computer doing consumer grade stuff. So people always come in and like, Thor, I don't do much. I do email, a little word processing, maybe pay a couple of bills online. Well, to HP and to Dell and to any other consumer laptop manufacturer, you are normal. They build a laptop for somebody who isn't going to use it a lot. Then you take that same laptop and suddenly you put it into an 8-hour workday, 5 hours or 5 days a week, or 6, depending on how hard you work, or maybe 7, or maybe all day, all night, because you don't really know when to stop working when you're working from home. Welcome to my life, guys. That's taking your work home with you. You know how many times I've wished I could just go home at 5 and not care? Like, I just want to go home and not really care. Like, it's somebody else's problem. It's always my problem. But I digress. The bottom line, guys, is we have a lot of computers that are being pushed beyond their limits, and then people are surprised because they defer maintenance. They don't come in for maintenance checkups, and then they push the computer beyond its normal load tolerance, and things start breaking or failing or not working properly. And so not only do we have our maintenance checkup load coming in, but we have those customers bringing in computers that are not working properly, and that's on top of the normal, hey, I dropped my computer and cracked the screen, or my hard drive's bad, and things like that. So like I said, it's been a very busy week between computer sales and computer repairs in all 4 locations of Schrock Innovations. So if we've been a little bit slow, instead of maybe 24 hours, it's taken us 48 hours to get back to you. That's why. I really apologize for that. It's not great service, and I understand that. But we are, just like everybody else, dealing with, we're interviewing 14-year-olds, if that tells you anything, guys. That's where we're at right now. Like, 14-year-olds can build computers. I will double check their work. That way I don't have to come in at 8 in the morning to build computers and then jump over to Omaha. I can just start my day in Omaha. 888-250-2091. Also coming up on the program today, how much we hear about the chip shortage, right? Yes, it's real. Yes, the price of processors is 120% up. So you're going to cry to me about a 14% increase in meat? Well, you can choose not to eat meat. You can't choose not to chip. Everything, your toaster has a microchip in it. When you push the bagel button, what do you think makes the toaster only toast one side? It's the microchip. When you shift your car, do you actually think that moving that lever in the steering column is moving pinions and pulleys and cords and wires and making things physically move? No, it's sending a signal to a microchip that makes things physically move. Everything has microchips in it now. Even the simplest things have microchips, and there's a shortage. So how many of the microchips are actually made in the Western world as opposed to Asia? What would happen if something happens in Taiwan? There's a big story this week about how, Taiwan made some pronouncement that they were a fortress standing in China's way of Pacific, dominance or something like that. I forget the exact words, but it was a provocative statement. So provocative, China flew a bunch of jets into their airspace again. Another day, another Taiwanese air incursion, whatever. If something happens to Taiwan, guys, the world is in trouble because almost all the chips are made there. But how many are made there? And what are we doing about this? Is there actually an effort being made to onshore chip production? Not just in America, but in Europe and in other places as well. We're going to talk about that today on Compute This because the chip shortage is genuinely worldwide. It is not a U.S.-focused thing. It's a worldwide thing. Also, this week was Patchy Week. Holy cow. There were major patches for Apple. You may have heard us on the Good Morning Show talking about that. You may have heard us on the Cat podcast with Steve and Gina talking about this, but major Apple patch this week. If you haven't done it, not just on your phone, but the phone, the iPad, the MacBook, and your watch all needed patches this week. Also, this week, we had patches from HP, critical patch for HP Omen laptops. We also had critical patches for Chrome this week. So we're going to go through all the patches so that you make sure you've got everything patched that you need to have patched so that you know what's what and what's going on there. And of course, in the meantime, 888-250-2091 is the number to join us on the program today. All right. So we mentioned we're going to talk a little bit about Windows 10 on the program today. I want to take a couple minutes here to remind everybody what happened on Windows 10. So Windows 10, it was a different time in the world. Golly, what year? Was it 2015? What year was Windows 10 released? I don't remember. Let's look it up. What year was Windows? Oh, hear that bass on the keyboard? That's awesome. 10 released. I'm a heavy typer, apparently. Boom, boom, click. Let's see. August 2nd, 2016. Okay, so 2016. That was 8 years after the iPhone was released. So that gives you some idea there. The iPhone wasn't even 10 years old yet. People were still purchasing, what were those little awful notebooks called? the tiny ones, the 10-inch screen little notebooks. I can't even think of what they were called now. They're awful. People were still buying those things. But yeah, so what ended up happening is we sent postcards out to all of our customers. At the time, it was something like 16,000 customers we sent out postcards to. And we said, warning, Windows 10 is going to be automatically installed on your computer on or after this date. You need to take immediate action to prevent your computer from getting in trouble, basically. The postcard was communicating the reality of what was going to happen. Of course, in the meantime, Microsoft was publicly saying, we are not going to force install Windows 10 on anybody's computer. It'll be your decision whether or not to do it. Would you like to cancel your upgrade? Yes or no? And what was automatically highlighted? Would you like to cancel? Would you like to stop the upgrade? Yes or no? Would you like the upgrade? No. Wait, now it's going forward. What's happening? Oh, my computer's restarting. Do not turn off computer. Oh, I can't even turn it off. And it wakes up and there's Windows 10. Or worse yet, you clicked no and it went away and you woke up the next morning and you had Windows 10. We had call after call after call on the show from listeners who said, I didn't install Windows 10. It just installed itself. Well, the truth is, Microsoft never forced it down. They just tricked you into clicking yes. And so the easiest way to express that on a 3x5 card is it's going to automatically happen. So a lot of people had it automatically happen. We had over 1,000 computers show up at the time to just our Lincoln Service Center to have Windows 10 installed to upgrade from Windows 7. Windows 11 is going to be way more complicated than Windows 10 was because pretty much every computer that was out there could be upgraded. If you had Windows 7, you could get Windows 10. That is not the case. If you have Windows 10, you cannot necessarily get Windows 11. And there's a lot of reasons for that, legitimate reasons for that. Some of them are a little more arbitrary, but many of them are legitimate. And so we're going to go over those on the show today to tell you what the use case for Windows 11 is. Why do we need Windows 11? Is it just a money grab from Microsoft? Is there actually some improvement that you're going to get? Are you going to experience any real world benefit from Windows 11? Should you upgrade to Windows 11 if you can? Should you check to see if you can? And what are we going to do to help you make this all simple? Because that's what we do. Stupid Magic Simple. We try to make life easy for you, and we have a plan for this as well. So we're going to go over that coming up on the program today. 888-250-2091. JD, Greg, and Kathy, stay on the line. Your calls are coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations Data Recovery Lab saves the data the other guys can't. The next time your hard drive, camera card, or flash drive fails, let Schrock get your data back. Some people like desktops for their power and upgradability, but nothing rivals a laptop for computing on the go. But why should you have to sacrifice performance for portability? The innovators at Schrock want our customers to have it all, so we created a new kind of laptop, the solid-state laptop from Schrock Innovations. Solid-state laptops are built using the same frame and mainboards as regular laptops, but we've removed half of the moving parts while more than doubling the computer's speed. The result? Laptops that boot to Windows in 6 seconds or less, respond instantly to your commands, and can survive drops that put most laptops into the data recovery lab. Starting at only $499, solid-state laptops give you speed, reliability, durability, and performance for the same price most people pay for a cheap disposable laptop. The next time you're looking for a laptop, check out the solid-state laptops at SchrockInnovations.com or visit any of our service centers. Simple, solid, fast technology is what we do at Schrock. Compute This Pro Tip 299. There are enough mothballed computers in U.S. homes to give one to every man, woman, and child in the country. Many of these computers find their way into landfills where they can leak cadmium, lithium, and other nasty chemicals into the groundwater. Schrock Innovations is very proud of the fact that we recycle more e-waste every year than we create. You can drop off any old or broken computer equipment to our service centers at any time, free of cost. We only charge $15 just for monitors because they are especially difficult to process. No appointment is required, and we accept all computer-related equipment like printers, keyboards, speakers, and accessories. Additionally, the rare earth elements in computers can be recycled right here in the U.S. to reduce our reliance on supplies from foreign countries. Take a moment, drop off your old computer equipment today, and Schrock will make sure it's properly recycled and put to good use right here in the U.S. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. Netbooks. That's what it was. Thank you, Aaron, on Facebook. I appreciate the assist there. The word I couldn't think of in the last segment. Those junky little 10-inch laptops, they're called netbooks. Yeah, they were awful. I had one of those for a little while, and I thought I was so hip, and then one day I realized, this just doesn't feel good. Why am I doing this? I don't really care how I look. I want a real laptop. 888-250-2091. All right, JD, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Hi, Thor. I heard you on Wednesday on the morning news, and it brought to mind a couple of questions. First, you talked about Windows 11, that all apps will kind of be in their own bubble and can't interact with each other.
Yeah.
And does that mean that you won't be able to copy, say, a table from Access and drop it into Excel, or copy something from Excel and drop it into Notepad or something like that? Is that what that means?
No, actually, it just means that every interaction can be controlled. So copy-paste can be allowed, for example, but you can't have, for example, over 90% of the malware that you get on your computer is delivered through Microsoft Office documents. A lot of people don't realize that. Things that you get in your email. Excel files with macros, for example. So if you get an Excel file with a macro that you open the Excel workbook and it tries to infect your computer, that infection cannot automatically transit outside of the virtualization bubble around Excel. But if you copy and paste, that passes through. So the security around Windows 11 is absolutely phenomenal. And like I mentioned on that broadcast, it's going to reduce the cost of ownership of computers. And a lot of people don't think about that when they buy a new computer. What's my future cost of ownership going to be? You still need antivirus software, but you're not going to have those what they call a breakthrough infection. You're not going to have a virus infection that you're going to have to pay to remove. The updates, Windows 11 is only going to have one annual feature upgrade, as opposed to Windows 10 that has two annual feature upgrades. So if you're one of the people, the 20% that's computer breaks every time there's a feature upgrade, well, it's only going to break half as often under Windows 11. Woohoo! There are definitely some benefits aside from the security, but there's a lot of really good things to look forward to in Windows 11.
Okay, and it sounds like my second question you will answer, because it was just how you can tell if Windows 11, if your computer will be compatible.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It sounds like you'll answer that later on.
Yeah, I'll just give you the nutshell version here. Basically, there's two. The big thing is processors. That's the big line in the sand. You can tell really quickly if a computer is going to be compatible. If you have an AMD processor and it's not a Ryzen processor, you are not compatible. So anything that's not Ryzen, if it's like an A10, an A9, an A8, an A12, an X anything, not compatible. If you have a Ryzen processor, that doesn't guarantee that you're compatible, however, because only the newest generations, Gen 5, 4, and 3 are compatible. How do you know which one you've got? If your Ryzen model number starts with a 3, a 4, or a 5, you're in good shape. If it starts with a 1 or a 2, you're not going to make it. So that's how you tell AMD chips. Intel chips, same thing. You look at the model number. If it's an Intel chip and the number starts with an 8 or higher, you're good to go. Anything 7 or lower, you're not compatible.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Hey, thanks, JD. Appreciate it. All right. See, it's that easy, folks. And JD's in the drawing for that $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. That opens up a line at 888-250-2091. Greg, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Thanks for taking my call. Say, I'm getting a notification from Google that my email account or whatever is 77 or 78% full, and they want to charge me $1.99 per month for extra storage. But I'm wondering if there's a way that I can take some of the email. I got a sister-in-law who does all that. I don't know, looking into your past relatives, she sends pictures, and I think that's what's hogging all the space.
Gotcha.
I'm wondering if there's a way I can take all of her emails and put them someplace else to free up space on my, or any other kind of email that I want to keep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And categorize them.
The easiest way to do this is you can set up, I'm assuming you have Gmail, since you're talking about Google and the space there. But you can set up your Gmail to be accessed through an email client. So on your computer, you have an email program. If it's Windows 10, you at least have Mail, the Mail app. And you go into your Gmail settings and you say allow POP or IMAP email access. Then you set up that IMAP account on your computer, and your computer will synchronize all the email that you have on Gmail. So you have a complete copy online with Gmail, and you have the same emails on your local computer. Now, once you have that backup done, you can break the connection, because it's important that you break the connection before you do this next step. Otherwise, you'll be really sad. But you break the connection, so now they're no longer connected. So you have all the email local on a computer and all the email local online. Then you can go to your Gmail account and you can just delete all that email because you have a copy on your computer. So the reason I told you to break the connection first is if those two are connected so they synchronize, and then you delete everything in Gmail, it will also delete it from your local computer, and that's very sad. So make sure we break that connection, and then we can get it that way and delete it that way and make.
Hey,
room
that's
for it.
something that if I call the service center, they can walk me through, because you just said a mouthful, and I'm not that smart.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a process. So walking you through it over the phone, this is definitely a Schrock desk. Like a Schrock desk call.
All right, I appreciate
where
it.
we would be able to get into the computer with you and go through your settings to set that up, set up your mail program. And then if you have that much email, it's probably going to take a half a day to synchronize all of it with the local computer. But then once it's done, we can get reconnected and get you all taken care of. But yeah, absolutely, we're willing to help.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Greg. I appreciate your call today. That also gets Greg into the drawing for the $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Kathy, welcome to the show. How can I help you on Compute This?
I managed to forget the password to my computer.
Oh, no.
And, and I can't get into it, and I'm wondering, what do I do?
Now, quick question. Do you know if you have Windows 10, Kathy?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So there's two different types of accounts you can have on Windows 10. You can have a local account or a Microsoft account. If you have a Microsoft, either one you have to put a password in, but one of them, if you have a Microsoft account, there's an online password reset procedure that we can take you through, and we're happy to walk you through that. Now, if you have a local account, that means the password's saved on your computer, and if that's the case, we've got the expert pro awesome hacking tools that can remove that password like it was never even there. So the bottom line is we can get you back into your computer regardless of which type of account you have. One way we have to work with Microsoft. The other way we just do it on the bench. It takes an hour of labor and then the password is gone. We can either leave it with no password or we can set it up with a new password for you. And we'll record the password in our system so that if you ever forget it again, you can call us and ask us what it is.
Oh, that would be great. And the only reason I went to it was because my 12-year-old grandson kept getting into the computer when he was supposed to be doing homework.
Oh, yeah, that'll get you. That'll get you. So you threw I'll just throw this quick password on there, and you look around the room, and you're like, paperweight, butterfly, kitten. That's my password. And then you clean.
Okay.
All right, Kathy. Well, we're happy to help you out with that. It's definitely something that we can handle for you in the service center or over the Schrock desk if it's the Microsoft account. Either way, whatever works best for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call this morning. I appreciate it. 888-250-2091. Going to be jumping into Facebook here during the commercial break, so we're going to take our bottom of the hour break, guys. When we come back, how much of the world's microchips are actually made in the U.S. or Europe? We're going to break it down into percentages for you coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations repair technicians also make house calls. Make an appointment and let us bring our award-winning computer support right to your home or business. In 1798, Eli Whitney's Connecticut musket factory was the first business in North America to use replaceable parts in a firearm. Before Eli's factory, if your musket broke, you had to send it away to an expert gunsmith for repairs, or just toss it and buy a new musket. Technology manufacturing has come a long way since the 18th century, but you wouldn't know it by looking at today's big box store computers. Dell, HP, Sony, and other manufacturers continue to take away your freedom to upgrade and repair your computer by eliminating expansion and repair options. Some desktops are even powered by a tiny laptop adapter. Schrock Innovations believes in Eli Whitney's idea of interchangeable and replaceable components, and that's why our custom-built modular computers last longer and cost less to repair than computers you see at big box stores. Ask your friends and family how often they replace their box store computers, and they'll probably tell you every couple of years. And what do they do with the old machines? They just get thrown out like broken muskets. Imagine a place where your computer's problems can be fixed quickly and inexpensively. Imagine keeping your computer for 6 years or more. You are imagining the kind of computers we build every day at Schrock Innovations. Our modular systems last longer, perform faster, and cost less over the long term than anything you can buy at a big box store. While the talented technicians at Schrock Innovations can't make you a musket even if they tried, our commitment to the freedom offered by modular computers is the modern-day extension of Eli's innovative musket factory. We think Eli Whitney would be proud, and you can take pride in owning a small piece of American innovation. The modular computer from Schrock Innovations. Compute This Pro Tip 843. Of all computer failures, the scariest and most expensive is the hard drive. But there are some steps you can take to save money and save your data before it's too late. Detecting failures early is important, so install a free utility like Drive Advisor from driveadvisor.com to monitor your hard drive's health and receive warnings when there's a problem. But most of all, hard drive failures happen slowly, so early detection is key to reducing the repair bill. Second, if your hard drive makes any unusual noises, immediately turn off your computer and do not turn it on again. These issues are physical problems, and the more you try to use it, the worse the damage becomes. Remember that most computer repair shops do not have the specialized equipment needed to recover data from a failed drive. Never open your drive or allow anyone else to do so. Opened drives always cost more to recover. Schrock does not charge for data recovery evaluations and quotes, so let the local pros look at your drive before you make any recovery decisions. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Fox News, I'm Ann Carrick. No violence Saturday at a protest in support of those jailed following the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol.
The U.S. Capitol was fenced off to prevent a repeat of last winter's deadly incident. In the end, police and media outnumbered the protesters.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer, organizers looking to bring attention to those arrested who have not received speedy trials for charges they describe as minor. After delays and extensions, today's the day in Illinois when many must be vaccinated against COVID-19. Fox's Eben Brown.
As of now, teachers, school workers, school administrators, college-level students and personnel, and healthcare workers must have had at least their first dose. A second dose, if taking either Pfizer's or Moderna's product, must be taken within 30 days. Proof must be shown.
Those who remain unvaccinated must submit to weekly testing. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
Temperatures in the 60s this morning, heading into a very warm afternoon. Strong south winds and sunshine will push temperatures up to about 90 to 91 degrees. We'll see a cold front move through on Monday, 80 degrees ahead of that front, but falling temperatures and scattered showers and storms in the afternoon. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist David Keller on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. It's hard to believe it's already halftime, right? The score's only 7-3. We're rolling on. Better than anybody ever expected, 888-250-2091. Sometimes I forget that we're broadcasting in Iowa and they don't really care. They don't really care. And, I don't blame you. Alrighty, folks. Stay tuned after the program today at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations for the After Schrock. Today, we've got the weekly report on Bitcoin and Ethereum that some people love and some people really just kind of suffer through so they can get to the meat and potatoes. Also, how to tell if your computer is Windows 11 compatible. We're going to go into some more details on Windows 11 during the After Schrock than we have time for here in the program. Also, holiday special test builds parts are on the way. And so we're going to be completing those test builds this week and kind of giving you guys a sneak peek of what you might expect to see in this year's holiday special laptop and desktop in the middle of a chip shortage. So are we going to keep the chips in there, or are we going to get new chips, or what are we going to do? We got some pretty cool new things that are coming out for the holiday special this year. 888-250-2091. So speaking of the chip shortage, how much of the world's chip supply is actually made in America or made in Europe? In other words, not made in Asia, made somewhere else. Europe recently has decided, we want to be a computer chip powerhouse again. That's the headline. Europe wants to be a computer chip powerhouse again. It's not going to be easy. The European Commission laments whole production lines are slowed by lack of semiconductors. Tell me about it. My F-150's been on order for 2 months now. It hasn't even gone into production yet. I think it's because I ordered the towing mirrors, even though it's an F-150. I got used to those big mirrors on the F-350, that look like giant ears that come out on the side of the truck. But it's got like the wide-angle mirror, and I'm like, you want me to go back down to like basically a car mirror? come on. I've had a 4K television over here for a mirror. I need to have my big mirror. So on the options when I built it, I said I want the big mirror. And if I would have taken the small mirror, I bet they had one sitting in a field ready to like slap a transmission in or something. But no, Thor had to make it difficult. So the European Commission will soon present its European Chips Act because, passing a law will give us more microchips, a plan to reduce supply chain dependencies on chip manufacturers outside the European bloc. Now, if you're like me, when I read that headline, I had to stop and think because it was a little bit of a struggle. When was Europe a chip powerhouse? Like, did that actually happen? Well, in Europe, they made, their share of the world's semiconductor supply was at 20%. So they made 20% of the world's microchips in Europe. Now it's down to 9%. Slightly less than half of its share in the 1990s. So when microchips were new and cool, they made 20% of them. But afterwards, France said, these submarines do not need microchips. And then, Australia didn't want them anymore. And so now there's no microchips. And they have all these extra submarine microchips. Can't they just put them in cars or something? And they're lamenting about production being slow because of the lack of microchips. Now, the U.S. isn't doing that much better. As much as I'm making fun of Europe here, the U.S. is not doing that much better. The U.S. used to make 37% of the world's processors. Now it's 12%. So between Europe and America, we make close to 20% of the world's processors of microchips. The rest of them are all made primarily in South Korea and Taiwan. That's why every time I see a story like Taiwan publishing some article that they are the fortress blocking Chinese expansion into the Pacific, and then China flies some fighter jets over their island, it always makes me cringe because if anything happens to Taiwan, the world is in trouble. The whole world is in trouble. It's not going to be fun. So how do we fix this? There are foundries being built in America, but foundries are the big problem. In fact, China has the same problem we do. They don't want to be reliant on Taiwan for microchips because they know if they have to take Taiwan, that's going to necessitate destroying Taiwan. So they can't make microchips if you blow up the factories and you're going to blow up the ports and you're going to blow up the airfields and you can't get the microchips out. It's going to be a mess. Not to mention the fact it takes humans to make microchips. And who knows, you might lose someone who has key knowledge in a process or something. You just don't know what's going to happen. So China is lamenting the fact this week in news articles that they are trying to rapidly expand their chip production capabilities. They've got all the raw materials they need. They can't get the specialized equipment required by the foundries because it's only made in Europe and America. So we're making all the equipment that's used to make microchips, and we are not willing to sell that equipment to China right now. China has all the raw materials and the cheap labor to make the microchips, but they don't have enough equipment to expand supply production. So China is unable to make really great processors. And here's the thing, guys, the way of the world, the next war is going to be a computerized war. The next big war, the next great war. We're in a fourth turning. They always end in wars, guys. So it's inevitable. It's going to happen. But the next one is going to be an electronic data processing war, which requires microchips. And right now, the U.S. has the best microchips anywhere. Nobody makes a microchip like we make. We might not make all the world's microchips, but we're not making the microchips that go into my F-150. Those are like 10-year-old chips that are super thick. I mean, they look like Oreo cookies on a circuit board. We're making the tiny 7-nanometer Intel 10th, 11th gen i7 processors. Those are the things that we're making, the really powerful chips, not the junky ones. The junky ones are being made on the old foundries in Asian countries. So that's why everything that your toaster needs a microchip. It doesn't get an i7. It doesn't get a $350 or $500 processor. It gets a $2 processor or a $1 processor or a 50-cent processor to make sure your bagel gets toasted properly. So the challenge here is how do we get these foundries open in Europe and in America so that we can onshore some of our production capability? We do have foundries, especially in Arizona, for Intel building chips right now. AMD leases a lot of its foundry space from Intel. So AMD's chips can be made onshore as well. So what we're doing is we're partnering with the Taiwanese companies that are making chips now to open foundries in America owned by the Taiwanese companies. American employees will be employed in the factories, of course, but at least we can onshore and make some more of those chips here. The problem is it takes a good decade between selecting a site, building the building. Foundries are clean environments, so they take intense amounts of resources and time to construct properly. So it's not like you just airdrop a foundry in a shipping container and expand it out. It takes a lot of time to do. So I would say we need at least another 9 years before we're going to be up to the point where we're maybe getting back to where we were in the 90s. Certainly not dominating the chip landscape, but maybe back to where we were in the 90s in 8 or 10 years. So it's not going to be fun. So Taiwan needs to tone it down a little bit and hold on tight for just a little bit longer. 888-250-2091 is the number to join us on the program. Al, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Well, I've got VPN on my laptop, and I occasionally connect through my tablet, the hotspot thing.
Yeah.
If I put VPN on the tablet also, will that double encryption happen okay without causing a problem?
Yes. So it won't cause a problem. It may slow down your connection, though, because you're running it through the VPN twice. So what's ending up happening is, realistically, yes, it's not double encrypting it, but it's double anonymizing it using the same IP. So it's kind of like it's not giving you any increased protection. Let's put it that way. So there's not a reason to do it unless you wanted to make sure that if you use the tablet on its own, that it was protected by the VPN. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's what to do.
Yeah, so if that's what you wanted to, if that's what you're trying to achieve, VPNs can be installed individually on each computing device. They can also be installed at the router level. So you can set up the VPN on your router to completely VPN your entire internet connection, which sounds like a really great deal until you try to order a pizza from Pizza Hut. Literally, I tried to order one and I couldn't connect. I'm like, what's going on? Their website's not working. I forgot my VPN is on. You can't order a pizza with a VPN turned on for some reason. They really, really, really want to geo-target you, and they won't let you do it. So, there are little things that will become kind of pains in the rear, websites that don't work, things that aren't as intended. When you try to get directions somewhere and it tells you you're in Chicago, and you're like, I'm not in Chicago. What? Oh, that means your VPN knows. If you go to Google and it tells you where you're actually at, then you've got some problem because your VPN may be working, but your Google settings are sharing your location in some other way. So there's all kinds of things to be considered. But yes, the first step in any privacy focus. Now, VPNs don't do anything for security like virus security or programmatic security. VPNs are good for privacy. They're good for making sure that what you consume on the internet from content perspective, whether you're reading up on viruses or vaccines or whatever you want to do on the internet, if you want that to be between you and the website that you go to or the source for your news that you go to, then you install a VPN and not even the internet service provider knows where you're going. If you don't really care one way or the other, there's no need to install a VPN.
Yeah. Okay. How much you said it might slow it down a little bit. What do you mean by a little bit?
Well, it depends. The different VPNs, do you know what VPN you're using right now?
ExpressVPN.
Okay, that's the one I recommend as well. It's one of the fastest ones out there, so you're probably not going to notice any slowdown. Some of the cheaper ones can actually cut your internet speed by 50%. So if you're cutting it by 50% twice, well, that's bad.
Yeah.
So then you'd be cutting it by 75% basically if you have one I won't name any of them, but any of the slower ones that are cheaper. Express is $100 a year, and I think you can cover 5 devices with it. Or one router or something like that. So it's pretty robust and it works very well.
All righty. That's what I needed. I thought that'd be the answer. Thank you much.
Thank you for the call, Al. I appreciate it. 888-250-2091. All right, guys, we've talked a lot about data and privacy and things like that. One of the things that a lot of people overlook in their data schemes are their backups. One of the things that, what we're going to do is when we do Windows 11, guys, we're going to offer a 50% discount off the normal installation cost of a new operating system upgrade. So instead of 2 hours of labor, it's going to be 1 hour of labor. If you're not able to install Windows 11, we don't charge you anything. If we can't get it to install for some reason, we don't charge you anything. But one of the questions we're going to ask you when you come in to do that is, do you currently have a backup of your files? You have a major operating system upgrade coming out in about 2 weeks that is going to automatically run on your computer. Of course, it's not automatic, but you're going to automate it and you're not even going to realize you're doing it. In fact, I just got a pop-up. Be ready for the webcast next week about Windows 11. So before you move to Windows 11, please, 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 for the love of the sweet baby Jesus, make sure you have a backup. Because if something goes sideways during that upgrade, you are going to be in a world of hurt. That's why when you come into Schrock to have Windows 11 installed, we're going to give you a couple different options. We're going to say option 1, we can just do a temporary backup. It's like $59. We do a backup, then we do the upgrade. If something goes wrong, we can restore the backup. Or if you want to purchase one of our modular storage devices or an internal hard drive for your computer, we can put that in with no labor, do the backup to that drive, and set it up to continuously backup going forward. So you have a backup forever, ever now. So there's a lot of great things that we can do to make sure that your data is protected. But I just told everybody to make a backup, and no one's going to do it. Or if you have a backup, have you checked it recently? No one's going to do it. So then when your hard drive fails and you realize you're not backing up when you thought you were, or you weren't backing up when you knew you should, you're going to come see us in the Data Recovery Lab at Schrock. Schrock Innovations has the area's only fully equipped data recovery lab. We do it in-house, guys. So we have the clean room environment. We have the PC3000. We have the PC3000 portable. We've got the DDI4 imagers. We've literally got everything. We can do firmware repair. We can do everything to a hard drive that all the big boys can do, but we do it for literally half the cost. Half the cost. All these consumer-grade computers that are being used for work from home right now, the hard drives are starting to go, guys. 14.9% of hard drives tested last week by Drive Advisor were bad. 14.9. So when the need for data recovery comes to you, keep us in mind at Schrock Innovations. We do not charge for evaluations. We'll give you a price for free before we start any work. Data recovery starts at $400 though. So please make a backup today. 888-250-2091. Going to take our final break of the program. When we come back, patches. Yes, Apple, HP, Google, all releasing patches this week that are critical, that need to be installed right away. We're going to bring you up to speed next on Compute This.
Update all of your third-party apps on your computer with Secure Updater. It keeps all your apps running smoothly and helps block viruses. Download it for free today at secureupdater.com. Every person listening to this broadcast has either experienced data loss or knows someone who has. When you think about it, you have a lot more data stored in many more places than you'd like to admit. Have you downloaded those videos from your phone, backed up the pictures on your iPad, or even tackled that sometimes daunting task of backing up your entire computer's hard drive? Most people just don't back up their stuff, and that's why Schrock Innovations has one of the most advanced data recovery centers in the Midwest. Equipped with the latest DDI data imaging devices, state-of-the-art custom recovery software, and Omaha's best data recovery technicians, Schrock Innovations has a 96.8% success rate when recovering data from damaged hard drives, flash drives, camera cards, and more. We all know we should back up our data, but if you are ever caught in a data loss nightmare, call the experts at Schrock Innovations to get your data back right where it belongs, safe and backed up on a stable hard drive. Compute This Pro Tip 578. Technology is constantly changing, so how can you tell when the time has come to recycle your old outdated computer and invest in a new one? Experts have rules of thumb and formulas, but Schrock believes the answer is simple. You should replace your old computer when it can no longer do the things you need in a secure way. For example, you should not be using operating systems like Windows XP or Vista because they're no longer maintained by Microsoft and they're not secure. And if your computer cannot run Windows 10, it's probably time to begin saving for a replacement. If your existing computer requires of repair, and that cost is 50% or more of the cost of a new computer, it might be time to consider a replacement. But keep in mind, additional costs like data transfers and important software you have to upgrade, like genealogy software or Quicken. And also keep in mind that modern computers are engineered to last 18 months for a normal user. And don't worry, you are considered a normal user. Schrock modular PCs and solid-state laptops are specifically designed to last 4 to 6 years for that same normal user, saving your family money and time. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys, fastest 7 minutes in radio coming at you right now on Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. I want to take a quick moment here to thank you for being here for the program and listening in. For those of you on Facebook at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations, all the top fans there, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your morning to be a part of the program. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to everybody at Schrock. We enjoy what we do. We enjoy helping people. We enjoy answering questions. We enjoy the service aspect. Now, like everybody, there are some people we don't enjoy, but you're not one of them. 888. Really? No, seriously, you're not. 888-250-2091. Brenda, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Hi, Thor. Hey, I have Sophos on my computer, my laptop computer, installed. And when I look at under detections, it says last scan Saturday, January 16th. 2021. Why would it say that?
Well, because
is it not working?
Oh no, it's working perfectly. We had a similar question on Facebook actually that came through. Same exact thing. Like, why isn't my scan happening every week? When I had Norton, it would scan like every week, and there's the world has changed so much from a virus perspective right now. Daily updates are not enough. Hourly updates are sometimes not enough. And that's one of the reasons we switched to Sophos. Sophos has an artificial intelligence-based scanning engine. So what it does, the reason that you had a scan in January is we probably installed it for you in January. And that's when the scan happened. Or it was a scan, once in a while we will send a periodic pulse throughout all Sophos subscribers saying run a complete system scan. Number one, on modern solid-state hard drives, that kind of scanning is incredibly detrimental to the life of the hard drive. It can wear out your hard drive prematurely. Same thing with defragmenting. You should never defragment a solid-state hard drive. It gives you no performance increase, and it just wears out the hard drive. Number two, Sophos is scanning everything that happens on the computer as it happens in real time. So for a virus to impact your computer, it has to load as a process or a program. So there isn't really a need to scan every mundane file on your computer because Sophos is scanning everything in real time. And if something tries to launch, that's a problem, Sophos clips its wings. Now, what this manifests in the service center when people come in for maintenance checkups, because right now, maintenance checkups on special for another week for only $60 in the service center. So we have lots of existing Schrock customers with Sophos that come into the service center. And we always double check, even though they're running Sophos, you have a virus-free guarantee. We still run all the other malware scans that we would run on anybody else's computer to double check its work. And we'll find little fragments of things that are left over, little temporary files, or this file is known to be associated with this virus. It's not doing anything. It's a scrap that's left over because something tried to get in and Sophos killed it on entry. And so the model of virus scanning and detection has changed since 2015. And that's why we get so excitable when we hear people saying, if I get the Norton 360 with LifeLock, I can protect 77 devices for the price of one. And it scans my devices every week. And it's just that antivirus model, that scan it weekly model just doesn't work anymore. You're going to be infected for a week. It only takes minutes for ransomware to get into your computer now. So that's why Sophos is different, because it's engineered for corporate level protection. And that means we want to make sure the hardware lasts as long as possible. So we reduce the scans that we do on the solid state hard drive specifically. Also, we make sure that the detections are turned up to maximum. If you tried to go to a website, funny thing, if you go to omahasteaks.com, you can get some delicious steak. If you go to omahasteaks.com because you don't know how to spell the right steak, you get a virus. So don't do it. If you have Sophos, that website doesn't even load. It will not even allow you to load it because it kills it that quick. So that's what's going on. That's why your scans say not done since January. We probably should send a pulse out so that at least, it's within 6 months, so that customers like you don't look at it and say, I wonder what these schlubs are doing. I thought I'm paying for something here. I don't know what it is.
Well, it says I'm protected. I figured I was. I just thought, so why is that date never changing?
Oh, yeah. I'll have Brian send out a pulse, and everyone's computer will all chime off simultaneously Monday and start scanning everything.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate your call today. Jeff, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This?
Yes, Thor, you left out an important point. Why do we even have a chip shortage? And then secondly, I have a question about AMD and what you think about their production and how they'll do short and midterm, and what you think of their stock price right now.
Okay. All right. So why do we have a chip shortage? Well, we went from a world where we had a full pipeline of stuff. It was an established. We knew how much people were going to use in a given period, so we knew how much to produce in a given period, so we knew how much to ship in a given period. So then we had a pandemic, and everybody stopped going to work, which means production stopped. Then everybody tried to work from home in the knowledge economy, so that means demand for advanced chip-based products went up. So we had no production with increased consumption for a year. Now we're trying to catch back up, but there's so much cheap or free money flying around the system right now that people have discretionary income to buy cool gadgets and toys that they didn't have before. So demand has remained elevated over time. And right now production, we're trying to refill that pipeline. But as fast as we're making things, they're getting bought because demand is up. So we literally don't have, and there's not a lot of incentive to create new factories to build these things, whatever those widgets might be. Runza this week. You want corn dogs for your kids' meal? Runza's out of corn dogs. It's not just one Runza, it's all of them. They're out of corn dogs. You want to go to P.F. Chang and have crab wontons? Nope. Crabs up 300% in price because there's a crab shortage. Really, did the crabs start crabbing? Like, did they stop for the pandemic too? I don't know. There's a crab shortage. So basically now all the increased shipping has led to a shipping shortage. And so the system is trying to find a new equilibrium, and it's going to take a lot of time to do that, at least another 2 years, at least.
Why then no incentive to build a factory?
Because it's only going to last 2 years. So you wouldn't build a 10-year chip foundry for a 2-year problem. That's the reason. AMD is weathering it. To answer your other question a little bit better, they're doing it a little bit better than Intel because they have been focusing on the chips that people are buying rather than trying to produce a wide variety of chips like Intel does. Stock prices for AMD, I don't know. I'm hesitant to do much with tech right now. I think that there's going to be a drop in demand as people finally get all their gadgets figured out. So thanks for the call, Jeff. I appreciate it. HP Omen, HP Pavilion, HP Envy, all the HP laptops and desktops have a critical patch you need to get. Google Chrome had not one but 2 critical vulnerabilities patched this week. Also, Apple, if you missed this, every Apple device, regardless of how old it is or what it is, whether it's a watch, an iPad, an iPhone, a MacBook, needs a patch. Make sure you get your patches done. Greg, congratulations. You've got yourself a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate, and we'll see you all next weekend for another edition of Compute This.
From the Amish Furniture of Nebraska studio, your home for made in the USA furniture.